Welcome to today's discussion on the latest developments in global energy markets and Indian stock markets. I'm Sonia.
And I'm Simon. Let's dive into the stories making headlines today.
The Indian government has withdrawn most provisions of the Emergency Natural Gas Supply Regulation Order. This move comes after liquefied natural gas shipments through the Strait of Hormuz resumed following a ceasefire in the Middle East conflict.
That's a significant development. What were these emergency measures and why were they introduced in the first place?
The government invoked these measures in March after LNG shipments through the Strait of Hormuz were disrupted due to the conflict. The aim was to divert gas supplies from non-priority sectors to key users.
So the resumption of LNG shipments has essentially normalized gas allocation across sectors in India.
Exactly. With the ceasefire in place and shipping resuming, the need for these emergency controls has diminished. The Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas stated that the situation has stabilized and maritime traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has returned to normal.
That's a relief for India's energy security. Now, let's move on to another story. We've got some interesting developments in the Indian stock market.
Yes, the combined market valuation of 6 of the top 10 most valued firms surged by 1 lakh crore last week. Bharti Airtel and Bajaj Finance were the biggest gainers, with a significant jump in their market value.
What drove this surge? Was it specific company news or broader market trends?
The reporting suggests it was largely due to favorable equity trends and robust domestic economic signals. Even though a few prominent firms faced valuation declines, overall market sentiment remained positive.
That's interesting. Were there any specific economic indicators or global monetary policy signals that contributed to this optimism?
The articles mention that optimism surrounding global monetary policies played a role. However, the details on specific indicators are not elaborated upon in the reporting.
Okay, got it. Let's move on to another story. OPEC Plus has agreed to increase oil output targets.
Yes, they've approved a further increase in output targets from August, adding 188,000 barrels per day to their quota. This move comes as exports through the Strait of Hormuz start to recover.
How does this decision fit into the broader context of global oil markets? Are prices expected to be impacted?
The reporting indicates that oil prices are falling due to the gradual reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. By increasing output, OPEC Plus is adding to global supply, which could further influence prices.
There's also a mention of a potential global oil surplus next year. Could that crash prices?
Analysts are warning that a global oil surplus could indeed put downward pressure on prices. However, the reporting also notes that restarting shut-in production will take time.
Let's touch on another story. I see there's a mention of the Business and Trade Committee discussing employment rights.
Yes, the Business and Trade Select Committee is covering employment rights. The discussion is being aired on BBC Parliament.
Are there any specific developments or recommendations coming out of this committee that we should be aware of?
The articles don't provide detailed insights into the committee's discussions or recommendations. It seems to be more of a procedural update on the airing of the coverage.
Okay, let's not speculate beyond what's reported. I see there's a story about Iran's Khamenei and funeral ceremonies.
Yes, prayers are being offered for Iran's Khamenei on the second day of funeral ceremonies. There's also a mention of OPEC Plus quotas in the same context.
We've already discussed OPEC Plus quotas. Are there any other significant developments related to Khamenei's funeral or its implications?
The reporting doesn't provide further details on the implications of the funeral or any related geopolitical developments.
All right, let's wrap up our discussion for today. It's been insightful to explore these stories together.
Indeed, the developments in energy markets, stock markets, and global oil production are all interconnected in complex ways. Thanks for joining me, Simon, in dissecting these stories.
Thank you, Sonia. It's been a pleasure discussing these topics with you. That's all for today's episode.
Goodbye, and see you later.